The highlights of my career. Well, that starts off very simple question. It starts off with the name Tito Puente. Tito Puente for me was probably the greatest inspiration in this vision and in this dream that I had to become a professional dancer. And many people don't know that the first opportunity that I was given on the professional level was by Tito Puente. And Tito Puente was someone that my mother tells me that when she was correcting with me in the house, she couldn't go dancing, very poor, grew up very poor in the barrio. But she says that she always had the radio on and they always played back in the day, Tito Puente music. And she would dance around the house with me in the belly. And so she says, you were raised from the belly with Tito Puente music. Okay? So it wouldn't surprise me that the first attraction when I started to listen and learn about the dance, the first attraction that I had was to Tito's music. I loved his music, I loved his arrangements, and I love the fact that now I understand that Tito, being a great dancer that he was, and a very talented dancer, he always arranged for dancers. His music, he even told me, he said, Eddie, when I sit down and write, I used to write my music knowing that dancers would be able to use this for choreography. And I understood that in the early years of my career, since maybe the late 60s or early 70s, because I loved his music. And the first two pieces that I choreographed of Tito was a tune called El Cayuco, and another one which was entitled originally Puente's Nightmare, and then it became Palladium Days. They revamped it as a Palladium Days. And the whole thing with Tito, since I used to go every week, without exaggeration, to the Corso on 86th Street and 3rd Avenue. Why? Well, first of all, it was a swinging place. Some of the greatest dancers were there, and they had the best music. But one thing that they had every Sunday, almost whenever Tito was in town, Tito was the featured band, along with Eddie Palmieri or Pacheco. And so, since I love Tito's music, you would find me at the Corso every Wednesday, every Friday, and every Sunday. So, since my idea was I wanted to show the dance talent that I have to Tito, I would dance purposely in front of the band and put on this whole show for him, so to speak. I was hoping that he would notice me. And this was after I saw Augie and Margot, by the way. So every time he would finish his set and come off the bandstand, I'd be right there and I'd say, Tito, I love your music. I was always just complimenting him, not only because I was trying to get him to notice me, but I just really dug his music. So I would always compliment him. And one Sunday, which was a surprise to me, as I'm saying this to him, he says, come here, let me ask you something. He says, have you ever considered doing professional dancing, working with your talent, and not just here in the club? And then I just simply told him, I said, Tito, you don't know this, but my dream in life is to do what I saw Augie and Margot do with you at the Roseland Ballroom. And I'd love to perform one day in front of your orchestra. And he told me, well, you have a partner? I said, no, I don't. He says, find yourself a partner, put some numbers together, choreograph some stuff, and he says, who knows, maybe one day that'll happen for you. All I know that was like almost like the green light, like telling me, here's Tito Puente telling me, hey, who knows, if you put an act together, it might happen, right? So, from that point on, I was like on a mission. I had partners, but they weren't at the level or didn't have the same drive and the same interest that I had to do it at a professional level. Until 8 years after this conversation, this is 1970, more or less, 1978, I get a job at the Roberto Clemente State Park in the Bronx as a salsa teacher. I walked in, and this is really a story here, this is actually a movie. I walked in and I remember they had a balcony and they had a big gym and they had different things happening, basketball, gymnastics, and karate. And all of a sudden I'm looking over the balcony and I'm with my friend named Jackie, and I see Maria. She was part of a gymnastic group and she was one of the instructors. And she's sitting there with her little shorts looking all cute, and I just simply turned to Jackie and said, Jackie, you see that little girl out there? Yeah, the one with the short hair, the cute one. She said, that's my future wife. 1978. And he said, yeah, you keep dreaming. So here I go, I start teaching. About a month or so later, who walks into my room? Maria. She walked in like this, like the attitude. And she's just standing there, and immediately when I saw her, I was like, my heart started beating. I said, oh my God, there she is. So I ran over to her and I introduced myself. I invited her to come in. And then I asked her, I said, do you dance mambo? And she just real nonchalant said, yeah, of course I dance. So I figured this is like my door to open up a conversation with her. So I said, let me put out some music. Would you show me how you dance? She said, okay. So I put out some music, and Maria starts flopping her arms all around and doing all this, what I call little light stuff. He was like, ah. And all of a sudden, I said to myself, okay, I said, this might be an opportunity for me to get to know her. I said, listen, Maria, why don't you sit down a minute and let me show you what we're teaching, what I'm teaching here, and how the students are doing it. Maria sits down, I put on the music, and I start doing all these shines, all these steps with the students. And you can see that her face was like, she was embarrassed because she realized that this was not happening. So then all of a sudden, after I danced for like 10 minutes, she said, okay, thank you. And then she walks out of the room, and I was like, hey, aren't you interested? She goes, no, it's okay, thank you. I didn't realize that she just basically was embarrassed because she realized that what she was doing was not the hip thing. It was mom and dad's thing at home. Right? So after that, I did not see Maria for about 3 or 4 months. And I used to ask, have you seen her? She was away in college. Out of thin air, she pops into my room months later, and she goes, I want to learn how to dance like you dance. I want to take classes. I was like, sure. So I figured I had a real task. Because when I saw her flapping her arms, I said, oh boy, this is going to be a real challenge to teach this girl. Little did you know that Maria not only had incredible dance talent, Maria was dancing since she was 4 years old, which I didn't know. She knew how to do tap dance, jitterbug, jive. She knew how to do hustle. The only thing she didn't know how to do was mambo. When I started to teach her and I realized how quick she picked up on steps and on routines, I said to myself, this is amazing. I thought that this was going to be a real nightmare to try to teach this young lady. So immediately after like a couple of months, she was way better than everybody in this class. I simply told her, I sat her down, I shared my dream and my vision for what I wanted to do with my dancing. And I told her, I said, I'm looking for a partner, and if you're interested in doing this with me, I would love to train you, blah, blah, blah. And she just said real cool like she is. She goes, okay, let's do it. And I started training her, and I one-on-one private lessons, and I'm telling you, in 6 months, I taught her 2 choreographies from her not knowing anything about the dance. I taught her Palladian Days and El Cayuco. And after I thought the routine was ready and the act was ready, I told her, I said, let's go tonight to this club. Tito's playing at a place called Christopher's in the barrio. So let's go there, and I'd like to give Tito my number and let him know and ask him if it's possible to do an audition for him. And we went up there. Tito didn't get in until about 1 o'clock in the morning, and the band starts warming up, and he walks in. And as I saw the right moment, I walked over to say, hey, Tito, how you doing? I said, you remember me? He says, yeah. I said, how can I forget you? I see you every week at the Corso, man. So I started explaining to him. I said, this is Maria, and remember we had this conversation a long time ago? He said, yeah. He said, I said, is there any possibility that if, I put my number here, if you could give me 5 minutes of your time so I can show you what I choreographed and what I put together from your music? He turned around real quick and said, I want to tell you the truth, Eddie. He said, I'm very busy. I don't know if I have the time to give you that private spot like that. He said, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to introduce you to my musical director, whose name was Jimmy Frisaura. And he says, you can explain to Jimmy exactly how you want your tunes play, how, if you want it like the record, explain to him, and in my next concert, I'll feature you and Maria. And I turned around because I freaked out, thinking that he would do this. I said, Tito, you would give me a chance to go on stage and play with you without seeing me, my routine and my dance? And he turned around, he said, bro, he said, Eddie, I'm tired of looking at you dance at the Corso. I know you can dance. He says, but you know what? He said, if I like it, who knows, maybe, we'll do something. And if not, then you had your chance. He said it just like that. Oh no, so no pressure, right? So then he tells me I'm going to be doing something at a place which was known back then as the New York Coliseum, which today is known as Jazz and Lincoln Center, 57th Street Circle. So he tells me, come here this Sunday, this time I'll be playing with the band. I did not know, Pete, that this was going to be something where it was a Latin expo and there would be thousands of people there, like the Javits Center. It was a huge place. I walked in there with Maria, and the moment I see thousands of people, because they had all these Latin products and they were giving away free samples, my knees started shaking. I was like, oh my God, I said, look at all these people. And Tito was the hired Latin band entertainment for this event. So I go to the back and I find Tito's spot where he was set up, and you could only imagine. Here I am thinking, if he doesn't like it, this will be the first and last time that I'll do this with him. And so I got to the bandstand and I said, "Hey Jimmy, hey Tito," and then Jimmy says, "Go get ready. We're about to play. Is Tito gonna bring you on? Maybe like as a third number. He'll introduce you." So I go in the back and I'm getting ready, putting on my costume, and I can tell you this: I drove Maria crazy because I kept saying, "Maria, you gotta be on point. You gotta be sharp." Blah blah blah. And it was all this nervous energy that I was letting out. And Maria's real cool, just fixing up her costume. And at one point she goes, "Relax already, okay? It's gonna be fine." I was like this, and Maria was like, "Don't sweat." So all of a sudden, Tito, I'm listening to Tito on the mic. He said, "Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now I have a surprise for you." He said, "This surprise is such a surprise that I don't even know what it is." He said, "We have a young man here who I've seen dancing at the Corso, blah blah blah, and he's going to do a little dancing for you, like what we used to do back in the days of the Palladium, because the Corso was after the Palladium." So he's introducing me, and I'm like this. And he says, "They're going to do 2 numbers for you, and the first 2 they're going to do is a classic tune of mine called El Cayuco." So he introduces Eddie and Maria. Boom, we come out, we take a position, thousands of people around. He hits it, boom, boom, go, go, back, back, back. We can't kicking. All I kept saying is, I'm going to put all my energy and I'm going to do my best. And as I'm dancing, every time I would spin or something, I would look at Tito. Tito always had that smile, and I'm thinking, "Oh, he's smiling," And the people started clapping, and it started to look like it was going